I have an overwhelming crush on a younger coworker and can't tell if she's interested. My shyness complicates things. So there are a few problems. The whole situation is a bit complex, and I'm too shy to really directly say or ask things with other people. So I'm afraid this is going to be a long one and a little patience will be necessary. First, the age thing. Though lately I've been given the impression that she doesn't really care, it's still not something I can just ignore. Still, she's mature and not running around partying madly all the time or that sort of thing, at least as far as I can really tell. So my only real concern there is that it would bother her, but then I have just about a full 10 years on her, so it still amazes me that she doesn't feel like I'm old. I've been acting under the assumption she thought I was, and even once commented that I talk like I'm old. I've already graduated college a long time ago and am working something of a dead-end job because I'm very bad at properly job hunting, which can also be a bit of another hurdle, though again, the impression I've had is that she doesn't look down on me for this. She even once admitted she's pretty bad at job hunting as well, and is or was still attending college even. Second, a while back I had a crush on another coworker who I for many reasons thought was actually interested in me, but who was in a committed relationship. Originally I had thought to stick it out and be there if it didn't work out, but after a while it started to become clear that she was pretty committed and just wanted to be a friend, no more. Honestly, I wasn't subtle enough about it, and it became obvious enough to others, including said coworker. Anyway, just as I'm getting over this person, I find out she's gotten pregnant with her boyfriend. From what little information I had about it, it sounded almost intentional even. So that really made it clear that she was committed once and for all, and I definitely gave up on her. Clearly, I never had a chance there. So about this other coworker, I'm not settling for second best, as you, and worse, she might be inclined to think from that. Since even before the other person I had always thought she was completely uninterested in me. In fact, I actually liked her from the start though. It's not just about looks, she has a great personality, and even likes music as much as I do. Music being just about the only thing left in this world that still gives me some small pleasure, but unfortunately we listen to very different sorts of music, so it's still kind of hard to find enough common ground there. She doesn't really talk to me very much, though she's always extremely nice when she does, and she seems to go out of her way to greet me and such sometimes, but usually little more than that. Because my impression has always been since even before this other person that she wasn't the least bit interested in me, I just kind of gave up on her before I ever really even thought about it. But now, I've had a couple of people tell me that they really thought she had a crush on me. Unfortunately, one is my mother. I don't live with my parents, but I'm not 100% detached from them, and I do still talk to my mother from time to time as well as help her with stuff. Plus, she's just plain worried for obvious reasons given that I'm still alone at this age. The other was a bit of a stranger parsing through my workplace, and I didn't even know their name. Neither is someone I'd want to ask for advice or help in this even if I could. Especially since my mother called it a really bad time to say that among the other stuff she was calling about, and I kind of barely even responded. She called while I was trying to catch up on some much-needed sleep after getting up early that day. Some time ago, I managed to get her phone number ostensibly to offer to sell a couple of things she might be interested in, but also kind of secretly hoping she might actually communicate with me for a change. I'm broke besides, so it was kind of the perfect cover. She never really responded very well to any of that, but then I was trying to sell stuff and I've since found out she's pretty broke too. Guess it should have been obvious given that her paychecks can't be any better than mine. So in retrospect, it was kind of dumb that I tried 3 or 4 different things. Well, a bit ago I accidentally sent her a text meant for someone else, then after apologizing offered to take her number off of my contacts list since I was just doing stuff like that, which must surely have been annoying. The response actually was fairly enthusiastically no. She's obviously not interested in buying stuff from me, but at the same time, she doesn't really talk to me through texts, so this just confuses me further. Why didn't she want me to just stop sending texts? Unfortunately, even when I try to mention something that might interest her, I saw a grip on her phone that was based around a show I rather liked, so thought I'd ask if she knew where I could find any of the older episodes of it. I usually don't even get a response at all. At the same time, I've seen a lot of people having troubles even really knowing when they had text from people. The other person I mentioned often wouldn't respond to me for as much as 2 weeks if I said something via text, due to getting too many, especially from coworkers asking for shift swaps and etc., which they'd pretty much want to ignore anyway. She has an iPhone if anyone has more experience with what the texting app is like on there. I use Android and not even the stock app, plus mostly only deal with family, so it's pretty hard for me to really know exactly what it's like for her. So this begs the question of whether she's ignoring me intentionally or not, and either way, if it's because she just doesn't know what to say, or because she can't, even if it's not the worst case scenario of extreme disinterest. One thing I'm concerned about though, she knows that I had a crush on that other person, and from her point of view, it really is likely to look like I'm just giving up on one person and settling for her. I obviously can't directly tell her that I actually was interested in her long before that, If I could come right out and say stuff like that, I would not even be in this situation. I would have asked her a long time ago. In fact, there's yet another problem in that she may honestly think I'm not interested in her too. A while back, my least favorite employee there apparently was trying to fix me up with her, without even saying anything. And she told him that I had a crush on that other person. Ironically, by then I was already getting over her. So he came up to me and was asking about that. I realized I should have gone along with it, but this guy has a really big mouth. So I was telling him not to spread rumors, and since I'm not very good at speaking as it is already, things really ended up going a very different direction that had nothing to do with me or her. In my defense, this guy had previously been randomly spreading what basically amounted to outright slander against me for months unsolicited to other employees though. So I really didn't want him and his big mouth spreading stuff like that, and in fact, even if he had actually fixed us up, I've no doubt that even in that he'd managed to find a way to make me regret it. The thing is, I always have kind of really liked her. She's cute, has a great personality, and we even have some common interest in music. In fact, she apparently is interested in doing things like mixing, something I've always kind of wished I'd properly learned to do. I liked her long before the other person and didn't like her any less even then, which drove me absolutely batty because if I ever do find someone, I can't be looking at other people. However, if she truly is as extremely uninterested in me as I've kind of felt like for so long, this is obviously hopeless and I need to just make myself move on. Really, I've been telling myself she's not interested and I should forget it, but ever since my mother told me that, I've been unable to give up the idea that maybe, just maybe, there might be something there. It's very hard for me to just completely give up on the idea without actually knowing that it's hopeless, but I cannot, no matter how much I know I should, just ask directly. In case it's not blatantly obvious, given that I'm asking here on the internet via a completely anonymous nickname, I am just about as shy as they come. The last time I actually came along when several employees went to a nearby restaurant after work, and ironically she was there across from me. I just couldn't really talk to anyone about anything. I'm no good in social situations, and in things like this, I generally have to be far more subtle than anything too direct, at least until I know whether or not she is at all interested. Really, all I can even think of would be asking that other person from before. I think she still wants to be a friend, but I'm not sure. Things are getting pretty complicated for her and she's getting far too busy to communicate with me anyway. But that's kind of, well, it should go without saying. At the same time, I really feel like I need third-party help in this. And the last thing in the world I need is for it to be someone like my mother. I don't even have the phone numbers for anyone else at my workplace. But even if I did, I can't really think of anyone else there I could really trust in this sort of private business. Besides, for all I know, she may well have a boyfriend by now. She's a lot more socially capable than I am, obviously, the aforementioned great personality, and plus, for all I know, that annoying person from before turned around and set her up with someone else. I just can't tell. I'll admit, though, I'm also a bit scared that this whole situation could still be somewhat from my own desperation. I don't really know how much longer I can even take being alone, and honestly should even have had a family by now. I also really don't want to push things and maybe hurt her as well if I'm just being desperate here. I don't really think I can do a TLDR version of this since, as I said, it's complicated. But if I must, the best I can say is that I guess I need a way of testing the waters to see if someone is even interested in me without being so blatant or annoying that it only pushes her away, and I'm too shy to do anything very direct anyway. I probably, if nothing else, need some sense of closure as I'm having a lot of trouble just giving up on the idea, even though I do kind of think that I should, but a direct question is just too much for me. Especially given that if I sent it via text, it might not even be seen for weeks or something, and I definitely absolutely couldn't ask in person.